G'day, ZiggyD here, and welcome back to the Black Hound for part 5 of my Pillars of Eternity role playthrough. In the last episode, we were visited by an intense dream, pointing us towards a woman that was hung, that perhaps is seeking us out from beyond the grave. I don't know, there's all sorts of creepy stuff going on in this town, guys, and hopefully in this episode we'll get to the bottom of some of it. So many questions have been plaguing my mind, and I'm keen to progress. But before we do so, we do have some levels to achieve. ZiggyD Stardust has enough experience to level up. Here we go, level 3. All right, progression is occurring. So this is I'm having some tough decisions here as to how I want to continue to progress my character. We are very a combat focused hero, so we're sort of metagaming a little bit here. We're taking a step out and looking at our character and how would he be likely to progress. We are seeking to learn more about the world. That's been something we've been focusing on, asking around, talking to people, you know, talking to our new companion, and I think through that our knowledge of lore of the local land has progressed, and that seems like a natural progression just there. We have been engaging in a little bit of brawling in the streets, and our athletics has probably progressed as a result. And I think we can probably save this point for now. I think we can save this point until our next sort of level, and then spend it then, and continue to progress our characters in ways that make sense. I think this works. So now we get to unlock some tier 2 powers. I'm pretty excited about that idea. So, what do we have here? I hope we don't lose that point, by the way. I guess we'll find out. I'm not actually familiar with exactly how that works. Okay, Amplified Thrust bounces psychic energy harmlessly off the target and onto the closest nearby enemy, causing pierce damage and violently pushing them backwards. Ooh, that sounds good. Also, things that move, control enemies is I think gonna be very handy in some of the nastier fights we could potentially engage in. So this pushes an enemy away from us, which could be helpful and help us in triggering some of our other abilities as well. Overwhelms a target's mental ability to communicate with its own body, paralyzing it, causing its soul to emit a shockwave that can leave nearby enemies stuck. Oh, okay, so paralyzes the one enemy and can sort of affect enemies around it in a similar fashion as well. Mind Blades co-opts the target's essence, generating a slashing blade of force that attacks them before leaping up to 5 additional targets. Wow. That is a lot of AoE potential there. Phantom Foes invades the mind of targets into the area of effect, causing them to believe they are surrounded by phantom foes, leaving them flanked for the duration. Okay. Good for setting up flanks then, helping people get, helping like rogues get backstabs and things like that. The Cypher uses the target's strength of mind against it, stealing a portion of its resolve in order to better deflect incoming attacks. So it looks like it weakens the enemy and increases our deflection at the same time. Drains 10 resolve from the enemy and gives us 10 plus deflection for 27 seconds. Okay. And Recall Agony causes the target to relive the psychic trauma of injury moments after receiving it, experiencing the damage all over again. That's a very cool ability. Okay, so you use that, deal damage with another attack from another ally or something like that, and then it applies the damage again. So target 30% of all damage reapplied over 16 seconds. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Ooh, there's some tough ones here. There's some tough decisions to be made. All right, I'm going to think about this for a moment, and we'll get back once I've made a decision. Okay, I think I've decided upon Mental Binding, which is going to allow us to hopefully control some situations that could be very nasty, allowing us to paralyze some enemies. And then Mind Blades, because I just can't get over the idea of slashing basically 6 targets. So that one sounds a little bit too attractive to go past. So we can pierce into the minds of our enemies and all those surrounding them. I like this idea. Let's move on with those ones. And no new talent unlocks this level. Next up, we do have Aloth, a level for him as well, so let's check him out. I haven't dealt with, you know, a wizard yet, so this should be interesting. So it seems like my initial impressions of Aloth were pretty accurate, and that he is a very knowledgeable guy, so I'm gonna go ahead and increase that a little bit, but I think I would also like to increase his survival score as well, and I might put the final one into mechanics. So next up, we get some tier 2 spells to unlock for Aloth too. Now, there's quite a few here, so I'm gonna have a bit of a read through these, and then I'll discuss the ones that I've chosen. Okay, I've decided upon Aloth's spells. We first have Bewildering Spectacle, which creates bizarre and perplexing visual distractions, confusing enemies in the area of effect. So it's an AoE Confuse, which I think will come in handy. And then, to sort of balance out some of our crowd control tendencies with a little bit of damage, we have Ray of Fire, creates a scorching ray of flame between the caster and the target, inflicting continual burn damage to the target and anyone caught in the ray. So with this, we can potentially target the backlines, someone on the backlines, and burn everyone between us and them. Now, like I learned with my corrosive beam ability, I should probably be careful about whether any of my allies happen to pass through this flame as well, because friendly fire is indeed a thing in this game. So, let's go ahead and progress forwards. No new talent unlocks for this level. So now, with our character progression out of the way, let's get stuck into exploring and learning about some of the mysteries of the town. I'm going to start by poking around in the inn here a little bit and seeing what we can find out. Let's see what's going on with this table first. Oh, hello. A scroll of Fan of Flames requires 2 lore. I think either of us will be able to use this, actually. I believe I have 2 lore. And we found Development of a Crucible Knight, Part 2 Senior Ranks, and a little bit of cash. Well, while no one's looking, let's go ahead and scoop this up. Flicking through the pages of the Development of a Crucible Knight, Part 2 Senior Ranks, I learned a little bit about how knights, Crucible Knights, ascend through the ranks and the training regime that they undergo. Selena Vertivo and Strom Brightblade. These look like an interesting pair. Whoa. My mind. As you near, you feel a vibrant history contained in the essence of this woman's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. Reach out for the soul. You see a woman emptying her satchel onto her bed, taking stock of her inventory. Potions, bandages, tinctures, and herbs are scattered throughout her room haphazardly. She bites her lip, head tilted to one side, considering. She begins to repack one item after the other, careful deliberation undercut by shaking hands. Each item has a clearly marked place, but no matter how she repacks it, she isn't satisfied. The shaking worsens as she empties it out once more, one hand held to her mouth. Tears eke from her sides as she gives up all semblance of order and shoves everything she can in the satchel, grabbing it and running out of the bare house. Straightening her back, she walks to the docks, chin high, eyes hard and red. A gangly young elf offers his condolences, but she can't see him for the ocean ahead of her. She wanders the docks, offering her services as a doctor to any who will listen, anyone heading out on the high tide. Less than an hour later, she watches her childhood disappear into the distance, a tiny speck of an island, and tries not to jump. We take a step back. Well, that was quite a moment. Just had a bit of a vision of her, it seems like, being forced to leave her homeland? Maybe after a traumatic event?
Huh?
What about Strom Brightblade? Oh, man. As you near, you feel a vibrant history containing the essence of this man's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. I reach out for the soul. You see a group of young men standing around a makeshift practice target. This man stands in the middle of them, explaining the construction and use of a bow. He holds it up, pointing it out each part as he speaks about it, and what it does. He then walks away from the target, telling them to remain where they are, and he takes his place about 200 feet away. He carefully lines up his shot, explaining what he is doing as he does, and lets the arrow fly. It hits the target dead center, much to the surprise and delight of the boys near it. He smiles, walking towards the boys, talking about proper stance and how to most effectively hold a bow. A noise comes from the tree line near the practice venue, and he stops, scanning the woods, blue eyes squinting against the sun. A shadow moves, making its way through the forest behind them. He draws an arrow and lines up the shot, carefully tracking the motion of the hidden creature. Loosing the arrow, he wastes no time and quickly grabs another. The boys spin, watching the arrow fly into the forest, immediately lost amongst the trees. There is sudden, explosive movement in the undergrowth as a deer erupts from the tree line, running across the edge of the clearing. The boys laugh, turning to joke with the man about his lousy shot. They stop talking, see him holding the bow and leading the deer with the knocked arrow. They drop to the ground as he loses his last arrow, which flies true and strikes the deer right behind its shoulder, piercing hardened lungs and dropping it dead almost immediately. The boys stare at the deer for a few seconds and then slowly turn to look at the man, newfound respect in their eyes. He smiles again and breathes a quiet sigh of relief. Well, I thought something a little bit more scary was going to be in those forests. Okay, well, that's quite the introduction to these two. I don't know, when I engage with people in discussion, I just like to start off with a simple hello. But I suppose that's one way.
Aye?
So, are we able to talk to them now? Okay, no, I guess there's a force telling us about their past, but not willing to actually talk to them just yet. Interesting stuff. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna poke around your room. Lockpicks required. Party lockpicks 4. Do you want to pick the lock? Yes. Yes, so we did it. Success. Oh, hello, I'm glad I did. Don't mind me, in-guest. Properties of deflection +5. I'll be... Hey, okay, he's not happy. Get out of there. Alright, hold on. You saw nothing. You saw nothing. Well, we made off with the ring at least, but I don't know if I want to provoke his ire any further in grabbing anything more than this one ring. But, you know, I'm happy I grabbed this. +5 deflection. I like it. So that should help us a little bit more in combat there. Okay, so... I'm not exactly sure what would happen if I continued to poke around, but I'm sure there would be some sort of consequences. Is there anyone in here? Alright, there's no one in here. Let's have a bit of a poke around in here then. Alright, we lockpicked that one. That was obviously easy enough. We found some padded armor. A jeweler's hat. Oh, fancy. This seems like a jeweler's ensemble right there. Crammed behind the books is a drawing that shows Eothas and Lord Radric in a compromising permission. Someone is drawing naughty images behind the books. What do we have here? The Durwood, Part 1, early colonial history. I'll be able to learn a little bit more about the lands there. Alright, let's poke through this way. These guys look interesting. Deslock, Najatep. Shane Shakes, Mulrian, I wonder how he got that name. And Sila Amin.
How may I help?
Let's say hello. Oh man, what's going on in this town? As you near, you feel a vibrant history contained. You see an emaciated boy in chains, black holes for eyes, staring sightlessly at a wall. A man in dark coat walks in, a scroll and an oddly shaped quill in his hand. The boy glances at him expressionless, a corpse waiting for animation. The man clucks at him, disapproval clear in his tone. The boy stands, limbs hanging. The man takes a quill and begins to write on the boy's chest, copying sharp, angular symbols from the scroll. The child doesn't flinch as the quill digs into his skin, drawing blood as it goes. The wizard finishes with a flourish and barks some arcane command, setting the symbols to glow dully. The boy cries out, knees hitting the stone hard, his chest burning black and red. Finally, the glow disappears, leaving only hard black scars etched into his skin. He slumps sideways, twitching, eyes facing the back of his skull. The wizard grunts, kicking him on the leg on the way out. The boy lies on the floor until dawn, eyes still black like holes, the twitches growing into convulsive shakes. So we're like stuck in some other dimension here in this town. If we try to talk to anyone else, instead we're met with visions of their past. At least I can only assume visions of their past. Okay. When I thought it was just those two that were special we talked to, I thought, okay, that's odd. But now I'm starting to get a picture of what's happening here. Something is really off in this town. Okay, all right. Let me poke down here first, and then I'll see if it continues with other people. Here's the old black hound. Aww. Oh, I think this part might make me cry, man. The black hound just waiting for his master to return. This hound stares intently at the covered window, head cocked as if waiting to hear a particular sound. It looks up when it approaches and whines a low note, tail wagging slightly. Let's pet the dog. The dog's tail thumps happily against the floorboards. Aww. Sorry, girl, I don't think he's coming back. The dog whines softly again, head tilting. Well, you can come with me. Maybe we'll find him on the way. The dog's ears perk up. It trots over to you and barks happily. We just stole the dog! Really? Did I really? Wow. These bones are covered in tiny bite marks. Aww. I have the black hound. We're taking it with us, guys. Maybe we'll find the master. And maybe the black hound will finally have peace. This small dog has glossy black coat and an affable disposition. She trots along at your heels, gazing up devotedly wherever you come to a stop. Oh! It's coming with us now! Okay. Alright, I'm okay with this. Sure, we stole the dog, but you know what? I think I'm okay with this. We have a good view of the town up here, it looks like. Alright, let's poke around. Who is this man? Just a random villager? So, only certain people are triggering these intense flashbacks, which are I'm not gonna lie, guys, I find pretty disturbing, to be honest. I love these random little bits of discussion we get as we walk through the town. It's very interesting. The Black Hound Inn. There's a plant over here I'm gonna grab. Alright, so I'm gonna explore town a little bit, guys, and we'll see what we can find. Ronan Tyronian. Oh, once again. You see a group of people standing around a wagon transfixed on a sword as it swings in a large, graceful arc. This man holds the sword, passing it from hand to hand with relaxed ease, making the blade dance in front of his audience. He tosses it into the air, spins, and then puts his arm behind his back to catch it. The crowd claps excitedly, and a couple of them gasp. Certain they were about to see a tragedy. Okay, so this guy's a traveling performer then. Hugo, you see a room bright and warm and covered in greenery. There isn't a spot in the entire space that doesn't have some kind of plant growing in it. Small germinating seeds in a corner here, large sprawling vines climbing the walls there. Although most of the plants are actually in some kind of container, there are a few that have grown from dirt floor itself. These are just as lovingly cared for as anything else in that room. The man wanders through the plants, smiling at each and every one, an old pipe clenched between his teeth. Stopping next to one, he touches a leaf, lifting it up to look at the underside, then gently rubs it between his fingers. He takes a small handful of the soil it grows in and crushes it with his fingers. Satisfied, he drops the soil back into the pot and continues to the next plant. He hums a low, cheery tune, and he moves among the plants, occasionally stopping to sing a few words of something to one of them. Finally, he reaches the door, having visited every plant in the room. He turns back to look at them, a long, serene pleasure on his face. Then he turns back and is gone. A man of simple pleasures. So not all of these flashbacks are terrifying. Some of them quite pleasant. Like, that was obviously a peaceful memory for this man. Perhaps a man who lives a more peaceful life. Some of them, though, not so much. The Black Hammer Smithery. Oh, let's poke in. I do have some more equipment to sell, and I could perhaps peruse the wares as well. Looks like a well-stocked blacksmith, too. Okay, I've discovered that our character has an intuition about things that we probably shouldn't be touching, as you can see by the red hand there, probably suggesting that poking around in that is yes, perhaps not a wise idea. Unless we're willing to suffer the consequences, I guess. Considering that we have a fairly heavily armed-looking guard just there, probably not a wise idea to go poking around in there. He offers you a broad smile as you approach. Welcome. You're the first new face I've seen in quite some time. What can I do for you? What do you have here? You come to us in a strange time, I'm afraid. The stock's not what it used to be, but we've fine weapons and armor to offer yet. All forged right here in the Black Hammer. What happened exactly? We just don't have the supplies. Been expecting next delivery for near on a week now and haven't seen a sign of it. Have to expect they were hit by bandits. The road out east is crawling with them. All my workers ran off with the wagon themselves maybe to make some coin, he snorts. As if that lot would dare. Alright, so this man potentially commands some respect. Let's see what Alof has to weigh in. He's right about the bandits. The dire situations in villages like this and the exodus to the cities has created far too many opportunities for unscrupulous sorts. He scratches his jaw, thinking, if you happen to be headed that way, maybe you could keep an eye out for the supply wagon, or my shipment at least. They'd be cutting through the Black Meadow, I expect. Only good road for it. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. Keep an eye out for the supply wagon to the east, cutting through Black Meadow. Okay. As it is, most of our weapons go to His Grace Lord Raedric. He glances at the nearby guard. And that's as it should be. Yes. But it doesn't leave much for outsiders. We just don't have the iron. Well, I'll see them back safe and sound if I can. I'd appreciate your trying anyhow. You bring back the supplies at least and we'll have much more to offer you, a discount to start, and if you do find my workers, you give them a good smack upside the head for me. I can do that. Okay, so we probably shouldn't go on a buying spree until maybe we've sourced this, because it sounds like he's not going to have too much to offer at this point. We'll check out his wares for now though. You won't find anything finer anywhere else. Okay, I think we might need some more camping supplies. We can hold more camping supplies than we have, and then we would like, and then I think I have 2 at the moment. So let me pick up some more camping supplies. They're not cheap though. Let me maybe I'll go with just the 1 for now. Oh, we have some magically enchanted things here as well. An arbalast, nice. A nice looking stiletto here as well. Spell Jolting Touch grants Jolting Touch, and actually has a spell associated with it. This one has enhanced attack speed, it looks like, and reduced crit damage. Interesting. Okay, so it's faster, but not as powerful. Interesting. It's very, very expensive though. I'm just looking at these items hanging on the wall and admiring them. Like, gee, to have enough money to afford something like that is the dream. All right, sell the puppy. No, I'm just kidding. I would never. All right, I do have some things to clear out, so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the things I don't need. Okay, it looks like we're making quite a bit of money here with some of the things we've managed to collect up. 417 copper pieces. I'll take it, definitely. We have a bit of cash now. Still not enough for any of these things, though. Leaving the blacksmith, I decide to head to the center of the town and see if we can find the source of last night's nightmare. Phalion. You see a pennant waving tall and sluggish in the wind, a rising sun embroidered on the banner, the vanguard of a small troop of paladins. The atmosphere is buoyant, if restrained, and their armor has not yet been tarnished by the elements. This expedition is fresh, young, filled with zest and zeal. At their head stands a commander, awkward in full armor, but determined in step. Despite the excitement of his fellows, he does not smile. There's a twist to his mouth, his countenance grim. He throws up a hand, halting his troop. Silence falls amongst them, revealing a dark thunder deep and low. He orders them to ready their weapons and spread out, eyes dart from horizon to horizon, necks twisting to see the source of the sound. In the distance, dust and lightning rise from the ground as Stygian clouds raise toward them overhead. The soldiers stand, only the staccato movement of their breath betraying their nerves. The commander closes his eyes, calling a blessing down upon his troop. Invigorated, invincible, they wait as the enemy draws closer, poised to attack. This man has seen some battle. He's also a moon godlike as well. I feel akin to him in some fashion. Beneath the vines are crude carvings of a sun rising over 3 stars. Interesting. Well, I think we may have found the source of some of our visions. The purple light I've seen emanating from the various people around the village, I also see emanating from this body here strung up in the tree. The squat, distended body of an elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked bow that sags at the tug of her noose. The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forwards, rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze shifts. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings, but there is a tepid warmth to it. You feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it, not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. Reach out for the woman. You take a deep breath, clearing your mind, focusing on your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out toward the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with new, unfamiliar awareness. Once you have expanded enough to reach her, there is a sudden jolt to your mind, a ringing electric surge of images and words and sounds. You shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down to some deeper consciousness in a space occupied only by you and the hanging woman. And when you open them again, she is staring at you with eyes clouded in a milky fog, her body still swaying in the wind you no longer feel, from a tree that stands planted in a misty void. The woman gives you a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and she smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear, or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
Am I imagining this then?
No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy even. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I. Wherever here may be.
Something strange has been happening to me. I need to understand what is happening. She nods, a look of pity on her face as though consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there.
She nods.
You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
What is a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair. And here we are, visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on. Some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either leaving or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how. A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well, a wonder!
She speaks the truth. I've certainly seen these things, though it seems like a bit of an inconvenience because it also makes it difficult to talk to people whenever I approach them I have visions of their past. What did you mean by the phrase, when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties.
Fair enough, fair enough.
You should see old Meerwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
Kadnua. We're looking for Meerwald. Okay. So I think I survived an attack from a Bewick. Do you know why that would be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing. Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me, no?
Mm-hmm. You said souls break apart over time, then?
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again. But less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think. Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Caldera closes her eyes and her head slumps forward over the noose, and your surroundings seem to bleed into your vision from some unknown place of waiting. Aelith looks through you through narrowed eyes. You alright? You seemed lost just now. How much do we reveal to him right off the bat? I think for now, this happens a lot. You'll have to get used to it. He folds his arm. That's good to know, but I don't suppose you could tell me what that was all about. Alright. His arched eyebrows recedes into his hood. Well, that is interesting. He gives you a sly grin, and I expect that explains how you survived the Bewick, In any case, I appreciate your honesty. Since we're traveling together, it's probably wise for us to share these things. you know anything about watches? Since I've told him, I might as well see if I can learn anything. Only that they're rare and that they seem to have a unique insights into certain soul conditions. As you just demonstrated. Alright, well, let's continue on. So, the cause of all the ruin in this town is, as I suspected, superstition from Lord Raedric and issues perhaps with the birth of his child. And with the bells ringing in the distance, it seems like it didn't go well. But most importantly, we've found the cause of our visions is that we are a watcher. And I think we have some direction now, potentially, to head to the east, to Caed Nua, to speak with a man named Maywood. And along the path, we also have to look for perhaps an errant shipment for the blacksmith. So we have some goals now, guys, and a fair bit more understanding of what's going on.
I shall.
Discovered some things in this episode, and pretty interesting stuff so far, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Very, very well sort of done mystery. Moving through the town, bumping into, seeing people's histories, the visions and everything. It's very, very intriguing. Alrighty guys, so that is going to be it for this episode, but I will see you in the next one when I upload it tomorrow. That is it for now. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.